All right, Addie and Bridget. Who is the biggest rascal you know?
Papa.
I thought you two were Rascal 1 and Rascal 2.
No, I'm Rascal 1. You're Rascal 2.
Do y'all ever go play at Pastor Ken and Miss Phyllis's house?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Have you ever done anything there?
Yes.
What did you do there?
Swim.
What happened when they first moved in the house and there was no furniture? Do y'all remember what happened?
No.
Do you remember anything that happened about the floor?
No. No. Oh yes.
What happened?
We got a box.
Uh-huh.
And Levi pushed us in the box.
Yeah, and then what happened?
It scraped the floor.
Was it a huge scrape?
Mhm.
Were we all scared?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, I was. Were you scared, Bridget?
No.
No, of course not. Because y'all are Rascal 1 and Rascal 2.
Mm-mm. Nuh-uh. Papa is. Wait, who's Rascal number 2 then? Uncle Aaron. No,
All right, do y'all want to say anything to Pastor Ken or Papa?
Yes.
All right, what?
Rascal number 1, bald head. Papa, Rascal number 2, bald head. Uncle Aaron.
Oh, do y'all want to say we love you, Papa and Miss Phyllis?
Yes.
We gotta say it. But y'all do love them so much, don't you?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, girls. All right, does anybody know the name of the pastor of this church? Well, what's his full name, first name?
Kenneth.
Kenneth, that's right. And his middle name is Dale.
Ken Dale Chicken.
Kenneth Dale Pierce. But you know what? Do you know what his dad's name was?
Dale?
No, Cone.
Yeah. Ice cream cone. Yes.
Is he laughing a lot?
Yes.
Yes. Does he have a quiet laugh?
No. The laugh can give me a headache.
So, does Pastor Ken ever tell stories?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite story that he tells?
No. I never listen. Why?
Y'all are going to be in trouble after this interview.
I listen to some.
You listen to some?
Not much.
If they're funny, then I'll listen. But I'll be waiting before the next election, maybe. So I'll be out.
Does Pastor Ken like to eat a lot?
Yes.
What do you think his favorite food is?
Something.
Crack. Coffee.
Something.
Meatballs.
A food.
I guess whatever it is, that's
It's
like
a food.
What do you think Papa's favorite food is?
spaghetti.
Dessert? Does Papa like dessert?
Yes.
Is he always trying to sneak dessert?
Yes.
Who's he trying to hide it from?
You.
Mama.
Everyone.
Mama. Yes.
Goggle.
All right. What about Miss Phyllis or Mama? What words come to your mind when you think of her?
I'm funny. Happy.
What Benjamin?
Happy.
Happy.
Pretty.
Yes, she is.
Kind of crazy.
Pool.
Pool. You think of Mama's a good cook, isn't she?
Yes.
Do you think you're gonna see Papa, Pastor Ken, and Miss Phyllis after they retire?
Yes.
They're still gonna come to
Actually,
church.
though.
All
They're
right.
still gonna come to church.
All right. Is he quiet?
No.
He's loud.
Why does he even wear a mic? You can hear him anyways.
Does Pastor Ken like sweets?
Yeah.
Awesome.
We brought him like 2 pans of cinnamon rolls.
All right. Does Pastor Ken have a famous story that he tells?
Oh,
the
one with Easter.
That's Easter story.
Yeah, that's right.
Life to dead hair causes a permanent wave.
We
Love you.
1976, John Robert was saved at the Tecumseh. We hadn't been to church, so we tried Sardis. Of course, Sardis was my family's home church, and it was comfortable for me. When he went to the altar, of course, I went with him, and Kenneth whispered to us that this was the first time that anyone had been to the altar since he came. So that was a really special thing for us, and I always felt it really started something. But oh, did we know what it was going to start. Well, of course, then we had to go to baptism. I'd been sprinkled in the Presbyterian church, but I decided I'd get dunked with John Robert, so we went. We didn't have a baptism at the time at Sardis, so we went to Ferguson. Lo and behold, somebody forgot to turn the water on, so it was cold. This was in November, and it was very, very cold. I think the preacher enjoyed it way too much, but anyway, we were baptized. The best part, I think, of when I think of Kenneth and Phyllis was our kids getting to grow up together. It was always so special. We'd have prayer and share or anything going on, and they were all around the same age. And one special time was Phyllis asked Esma and I to go to Galax with her. I think it was Oktoberfest, something to do with an annual thing at the church. And we went. We packed these 3 small children into this small little station wagon. And I learned about the roads to Virginia with Phyllis at the wheel. That was a trip. But we enjoyed it. We had a good time. We stayed at Kenneth's mom and dad's house. I got to meet Phyllis's granddaddy and go to his grape orchards, and they're not orchards, are they? Whatever. But anyway, and he was making grape juice. It was just a special, special time, and we got to know each other a lot better. Everything was not always so smooth with the children. There was one little incident that happened with Aaron and Esma and Angie. We heard this blood-curdling scream coming from Esma's bedroom one night when they were playing. And Aaron comes out, that little pale face. This is when he was so bad with allergies, and he was just so pale. And bless his heart, he had this huge bite mark on his cheek, of all places. And of course, we asked what, and Esma and Angie proceeded to tell us that they warned him several times, and that Esma just had to bite him. Well, that wasn't so funny, and it was kind of sad, but the worst part was me getting the stink eye from poor Bessie every day, every week for about 2 or 3 weeks, because Aaron would stand up front with children's church, and he'd had this big old huge, started out purple, and then it went green and orange, and this huge bruise on his cheek. And of course, my daughter was the culprit, even though the girls had warned him over and over. But anyway, I had to do that. So then, let's see. I guess we go through the prayer and share group. It was 5 or 6 couples that we got really, really close, and it changed a lot of our lives forever. We prayed, and we were not naive enough to believe that whatever we prayed for, we'd get. We did. We received it, because we just, we didn't know any better then. We just thought that because God said it, He'd do it, and He did. Well, out of that prayer and share group, there were so many times. Oh, the kids, of course, we loved every bit of that. The preacher never could understand why I needed to get home on Friday nights before 10 o'clock. Now, had Dallas changed times, we wouldn't have had a problem. But that was always a problem for him, but we both got over it. Anyway, Jane, God bless her soul, I remember we'd just be in the middle of something, and she'd say, Kenneth, do you want a pineapple upside down cake? She'd just get up, go home right after church. Within 30 minutes, we'd have a pineapple upside down cake. We were always so close. All of us knew what each other was thinking. And it was the best of times. of course, the missionary trip, that's John Robert's favorite memory. When I asked him, he said, of course, the mission trip to Haiti. He said, I loved the fact that Kenneth and Tommy were so scared that they held hands all the way up and all the way back. And the fact that they got to work together and worship together. It made a big impact on him and all of us. Of course, it made a bigger impact on Jim because he came home and drug Sue back to the mission field. Now, that's, I know, a good thing and a lot of blessings had come, but it was a traumatic time for us. It was when, it was like the eagle kind of taking the straw out of their nest. It was hard at first, but it's been such a blessing, and they've been such a blessing to so many. Then, of course, the Lord moved that one group in from Ohio. They had this funny name, and they talked funny. They had awful sweet kids, but it was the Bowers, and that was just a totally different experience. But we all loved every minute of it. Our mission, our lay witness missions, the healing services, all the weird things that bunch always wanted to do. And of course, Kenneth was always in the middle of everything, usually messing it up, but not always. Sometimes he'd act nice. I really loved all the picnics we had and fellowship over at Flonnie's and Tommy's house. Kenneth would ride they'd get the upright piano out of the basement of the church, put it in a pickup truck, and Kenneth would ride down the road playing the piano and come over, bring it over, and we'd have worship at Tommy and Flonnie's farm. The softball games, the ice cream, all the good eats, always. And of course, then again, that mission trip, oh, how many wieners did we wrap to sell and go send those men on mission trip? And then, of course, we had the apple butter making. I think that was for the building fund. But that was a whole lot of fun. We loved that. But anyway, the Lord started taking the sticks away from our nest and pushing us out. And we kind of went in different directions, but we've always had this special pull to be together. When Jim and Sue went to their dedication ceremony for the mission society, of course, we all went. It was a beautiful time. Everything was wonderful. We were all so proud of them, and it was so emotional until the preacher tore my dress off. Well, it wasn't actually tore off, but it was torn all the way up the back. Then let's just say that was a bad time. But anyway, I could go on forever. I could talk forever, and I could never say it all. We love the two of you and your family. The kids felt like ours. And we are so, so thankful that God let us be a part of your journey and put you in our lives when He did. We've been through so much together. A lot more good times than bad times. And I don't know how to wrap this up or what to say, except that we love you forever. And we know that God's got His hand on you, always has. And we love the two of you dearly. And whatever God has in store, I know that you'll walk right through it. We love you always. Marge, John Robert, and S and family.